Alright, hey everyone, it's me, Daniel with VintageMagic.com. This video is all about the Black Lotus. What I have here is an Alpha graded 9.5 from Beckett, BGS, a BGS 10 Pristine, Beta Black Lotus, a collector's edition, there's a collector's edition, yep, signed Beta Black Lotus, or Black Lotus, not Beta. And this is a Beta artist proof Black Lotus, which I will use as an example too. Okay, so the idea here is I'm actually going to be doing a sit-down chat here in a second. There recently was a BGS 9 Beta Black Lotus that was graded by Beckett that is actually a reback card. And I have a major concern with this card because it is obviously graded. It's a quad plus. I think it has all 9s and a 9.5 surface. And I'll talk to you guys more about that in more of a financial detail the second part of this video. But first off, I want to show you something because a lot of you guys out there have Black Lotuses, collector's edition cards, and Moxes, dual lands, etc. And I want you guys to be very careful because at this point of the game, I'm actually really concerned about the expertise of some of the graders, the knowledge, because if they are allowing reback cards to go through, which they have clearly, not just one, but several now, it's clear to me that the grading of cards will require the collectors to be more vigilant, meaning you have to be more aware of what reback cards look like. All right, number one, let's talk about it. First off, you'll notice something very interesting. A beta card is a Beta Black Lotus generally is centered. You'll notice top to bottom, left and right, it's generally very centered. Now, I've seen a lot of Beta Black Lotus cards. I'm not going to tell you how many I've seen because I don't even know. Let's just say I've seen over 200. I've held 200 or more, plus, easily, or sold. So I will tell you right off the bat that the top to bottom centering will be the main issue. I don't have one with me right here, but the top to bottom centering on this card is the main issue if there was an issue on the centering. Okay, top to bottom. The left to right centering, left to right, is not such a big deal. It's not as bad. It's not as predominantly an issue. So when this Lotus came online, and this is the collector's edition one, I immediately understood and recognized that the left and right centering was off already. Same as the artist proof, same idea. Keep in mind, the collector's edition and international edition cards were cut in manufactured sets, and they just basically were mass produced. Meaning, there is a very unlikely case you will get a centered version because they were all, the way they were cut was so fast, so quickly, the sheets were made, they're all the same. So you'll notice that some cards most cards in the collector's edition set, ice set, was very off-centered on the left and right, a lot. There's also some of them have printing errors that are very minor, but that's something I noticed. Another thing is beta and alpha cards all have distinct printing in terms of centering too. So all the years of collecting cards and understanding cards, the Beta Black Lotus, left and right, was never as thin like this. Look at this difference. I want you guys, I hope I can show you guys. Look at the difference of thinness. All right, another thing to look for, because the thing is, this card was online on a Facebook group. Very bad resolution of picture, but I did as best I can by a very low resolution. But I was able to do what I call the print test. What that basically means is, Rudy has done on his videos, and I have shown you guys or discussed this, is you look at, like for example, the Christopher Rush. Pause that right there. Look at that. Okay? Look at also the mono artifact. Okay, look at the print, the coloring, the gray, everything. Last thing is also you look at the Black Lotus, but look at the alignment of the circle, the mana symbol. Look very carefully. Notice that it is generally centered left to right in that circle, leaning a little bit to the left where the 0 is, and some right, but it's centered. And you'll notice that the artist proof one is actually very, very similar to the collector's edition. As it should be, because it actually is identical in some way. You'll notice it's sharper, it's thinner. The collector's edition, the artist proof one tends to be a little lighter, just a little bit. It's very slight, guys. It's very slight. Also, this tends to be a little darker, and the brown is a little lighter. But when we're not analyzing artist proofs, this is the artist proof one. This is the collector's edition. Look at the beta one. I want you to just look at it and pause the video and take a screenshot. Look at it. Because some of you guys out there do not own beta Black Lotuses. So I want you guys to sit there. Try to get it right there. Look at that. Right there. Look at the mono artifact. Look carefully. There you go. Very dark. Darker. The mana symbol, look carefully at the mana symbol. I want you to look at it. Look at the orientation of the mana symbol. Notice very carefully that it is leaning towards the top. It leans towards the top. I'm trying to get it, guys. There we go. So it leans towards the top. And it is still, the right is a little thinner than you'll see here in the collector's edition. All right, so let's do a little comparison. This is what Rudy's done in his videos. I'll do in my video here. Same thing. Now, it's really difficult, guys. I understand that this is, I'm going to try to turn this off. This is not an ideal light situation, but I'm trying to give you guys a perspective. That's all this is a perspective. Right there, look at that. Pause that. Right there, do you guys see that? Notice the collector's edition is on the right side, has a little bit more gray. Also on the the collector's edition is more centered than the beta. Now, this one is pretty damning. It is the actual Christopher Rush. Look very carefully. Look at the print. Look at the print. Look at it. You'll notice that there's more black, like kind of an embossed feel in the original beta. And then in the, look at the Rush, look at the Christopher. And from this angle, you can just totally see it. It's very different. Whereas the CE has very little black compared to the beta, and it's a thinner, lighter gray. Do you guys see that? Crazy, huh? Another thing is, I can't tell from the picture that the guy had posted on Facebook, but the brown actually on this is darker than the lighter than this CE. It's absolutely obvious what's going on. Obviously, if I had the card, I could also see that the surface was shinier, it's glossy than the beta. The beta is more matte. Now, those of you wondering, Dan, well, what about the alpha? Show me the alpha. I will show you the alpha, but it doesn't really make a difference in this video because I'm not talking about the alpha. But the alpha does has its quirks. So let's real quick. The alpha symbol compared to the beta, it is definitely a different shade of gray. I also feel, just by eyeballing it, is the alpha tends to be lighter, has more of a similar of the darkness, but not as black and kind of a fuzzy embossed feel in the Christopher Rush area. A little bit more a solid Christopher Rush. That's the alpha. One more time. Okay. All right, so let's do some financial discussion on this. My camera set up here. All right, guys, so this part of the video, I just want to go over some of the things because I'm obviously going to get some, I want to be clear about one thing. This video is not to insult Beckett or, say that PSA is better. It's not like, I'm not here to say one company is better than the other. I think you guys can figure out who you want to trust and stuff like that. Let me give you my 2 cents. The video of the purpose of the video is to share with you guys the differences of this Black Lotus situation. I will, for those of you who want the actual pictures and stuff of this BGS 9 Black Lotus, what you'll need to do is just email, Facebook me on Facebook, our business Facebook, which I will basically put the link below, and I can provide the pictures for you as evidence. Am I 100% sure? I've been asked that. I'm 100% sure in the back of my mind, I can tell, but obviously, if I don't have the card in front of me, I can't obviously say it 100% sure, but I'm 99.99999 with infinite decimal points that direction. So I've seen a lot of cards. I've handled a lot of cards. I just know when I see it, when I smell a rat, it is a rat. So I think one of the most important things when you are a buyer of these cards, let me be clear, a buyer in this case, you want to make sure that if you're a collector, you are looking at the actual card. I'm talking about the centering, the corners, the edges, and the surface. Not, what's sad to say is the subgrades of Beckett is what makes these cards special, right? That you trust the subgrades. It says a 10, it's a 10. It's a 9.5 alpha, it's a 9.5 alpha, and it's authentic. That's the purpose of Beckett's subgrade system. It's kind of been broken now. In my opinion, it's been broken. How in the world can you grade a BGS 9 beta? I'm not talking freaking like beat to crap, rebacked beta where it's like, I don't know, like a BGS 3 and it slipped through the cracks because someone just basically just was asleep to the wheel, didn't do any tests. This is a high quality grade card. It's like $30,000 or so, let's say retail, plus or minus. How in the world did that happen? It is beyond troubling. In fact, I will send an email to Beckett so they understand that they should look at possibly contacting the guy who's selling it and to buy back that card. Now, as a collector, I'll be dead honest. Beckett does not have a buyback money back guarantee program. If you have cards in your collection that are rebacked, that are fake, they will not buy it back. They have it on there. They will guarantee. It's like a guarantee grading policy. I'll put the link below just for shits and giggles. I'll also put the PSA buyback policy. They're completely two different type of policies. One offers money, up to money. Other offers more, just more of a verbal guarantee. So as a collector, be aware that if you are buying these graded cards and they are not authentic in this case, they're not real cards, then you should be afraid of that. You should know that you may not get your money back. The other thing to look for also is, and I'll have to do another video on this later on, is accuracy of the subgrades. I've been very, very big on telling collectors that make sure you buy the card, not the subgrades. Because ultimately the subgrades are honestly baloney sometimes because they're not accurate. It's just unfortunate. It's an unfortunate truth. Unfortunate truth. That's what it's called. I've had too many collectors now. It's not just me saying it. Collectors have now come to me saying, Dan, I want you to make a video. I want you to share with some of the things I've heard and see. And it's true. There's cards out there in the industry, luckily not the majority, the minority, that are completely wrong in the subgrades. So people always ask, what's better? PSA, Beckett, PSA. The reality is the subgrades only mean the premium if they actually are accurate. So I am not saying that there are not cards in Beckett. Like these two cards deserve the grade. I can tell. I've examined the cards. But if you don't look at your cards, then you are basically letting yourself up for failure. These cards are valuable because the actual card is valuable, not just the label. And the problem is most people think that they're valuable because of the label. Now here's the scary part, which I'm actually going to do another follow-up video later on. If you are a collector and you have open PSA or Beckett cards and crack them open and play with them in old school Magic decks, I know who you are, you know what you're doing, and they're not real. They're rebacked cards because you think they are real. Here's the reality. You're not gonna get your money back. You better have had it on camera. I'm telling you right now, it does happen. Be aware. If you take these cards out of the case, you have no recourse whatsoever. I don't care if you say, oh, well, I have the serial number somewhere, label, whatever. No, it doesn't count. All right, guys, I hope you guys found the video interesting. I hope it helps. Please contact me with any cards you feel are rebacked or have issues. I'm here to help. I'm telling you guys right now, there's gonna be more content about this, but I wanna put this out there. Be aware what you're buying. Buy the card, not the grade.